If you keep saying, I'm just not a disciplined person, you're believing a lie that's holding your leadership back. Disciplined leaders don't wait to feel motivated. They make their decisions based on their vision. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. But in this episode, I'm going to show you how to shift your mindset so discipline becomes your new normal. It's so great to have you back for another episode here on the Dream Lifestyle Podcast. If it's your first time here, know that you're in the right place at the right time because we're talking about self-leadership. We're talking about mindset, and we're kicking off a new series where we're doing a two-part series on the power of disciplined leadership. We're talking about the power of disciplined leadership over these next two episodes simply because we're at that point in the year where you might be in a position where you've achieved some things. You might be in a position where you feel like there's more you need to do. But overall, all of us would benefit by improving, by sharpening, by increasing our discipline. And so that's what we're going to be covering over these next two episodes. And so I'm really excited and thankful to have you here as we dive into this conversation, because when you think about whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life, whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life is always on the other side of your ability and your commitment to be disciplined. And so that's why we're going to really be attacking this series twofold, where we're going to be covering the mindset shifts necessary to become disciplined, but we're also then going to be attacking the habits necessary to become disciplined, because discipline is not something that happens on accident. It's something that happens intentionally. And so this idea of becoming disciplined leaders is something that each and every one of us has to decide. It's a decision that each and every one of us has to make, regardless of the field, regardless of your role, regardless of your title, regardless of your responsibility. You have to make the decision to become disciplined. And so over the course of these two episodes, I really hope to share some information that I believe will help you in that process of becoming more disciplined. So again, as the show is purpose, for you to become the leader your goals and your dream requires. And so why is it important that we talk about the mindset of disciplined leadership? Because that's what we're going to be covering today, the mindset. We're really going to be focusing on how your thoughts, what mindset shifts need to happen, simply because discipline starts in the mind. Before you start with anything practical, before you think about doing anything different, you have to first properly frame. You have to first properly understand what discipline actually is and what it can look like for your life. And so what I'm going to be doing in our conversation and our time together is really just giving you three points, three tactics, three keys that are going to help you discipline your mind. Because once you become disciplined in your mind, it will then become a lot easier for you to become disciplined in your lifestyle. And that's why it's so important. So when you think about becoming disciplined in your mind so you can truly become a disciplined leader, point number one, you have to first believe you can be disciplined. Many people believe that discipline is something that people are born with. They feel as though discipline is something only betrothed to those special individuals. And what I can tell you is that discipline is developed. And so in order for you to truly become disciplined, you have to first acknowledge, you have to first affirm, you have to first settle the fact that you can be a disciplined individual. So if you're one of those people that says, well, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a person that reads. I'm not the type of person that wakes up early. I'm just not that kind of guy. I'm not that type of woman. I'm not this. I'm not that. You are disqualifying yourself from developing the level of discipline that your dream is going to require of you. Because your goals, regardless of space that it's in, are going to require more of you. They're going to require that you enlarge your capacity. And the only way you enlarge your capacity is by disciplining yourself. And so you have to, number one, believe that you can be disciplined. Now, you might be in a decent spot with your habits. You might be in a decent spot with how your mind views being disciplined, but you might not also be. You might also be in a space where you've never truly locked in on a discipline. You might be in a spot where you start things and then you stop them constantly, but you have to maintain the fact. You have to maintain the belief that you can be disciplined. It's possible for you. And so this idea of believing that you can is just understanding that discipline is developed over time. If you look at anybody who is disciplined, anyone that you would consider disciplined, I promise you they did not start there. Each and every person that is disciplined today was undisciplined yesterday, and they became disciplined because they understood that this process is going to take time. And so because it took them time to become disciplined, it's going to take you time to become disciplined. But it starts with just that understanding that I must first believe that I can be. I have to see the potential inside of me that discipline is possible, as opposed to disqualifying yourself by saying, basically accepting these false labels about who you are. So, you might say, oh, well, I'm just disorganized, or, I'm bad at being consistent and everything like that. And I'm telling you, it's a lie. It is a lie. You can be disciplined. You can be consistent. You can be reliable, but it's a decision that you have to make. It takes one decision to build the type of discipline that's going to allow you to achieve everything that's in your heart. I'm sorry to interrupt the conversation, but I wanted to take a moment to let you know and personally invite you to this year's Dreamer Symposium. On December 5th and 6th, we're hosting a leadership conference for you to create vision for the new year and grow in your self-leadership. So whether you're looking to climb the corporate ladder, whether you're building a business, or you're growing a ministry, it is important that in order for you to succeed, that you have vision and you lead yourself well, which is why this year's theme is resilient leadership, because it's not about what's happening to you, but it's about what you can make happen in your world. And you need to know that you are built to overcome. And in these 2 days, you're going to learn how, because resilience will be necessary. Because for you to build the life that you dream of, you're going to need to overcome some things. And so I would look forward to seeing you there on December 5th and 6th in Jackson, New Jersey for the Dreamer Symposium. Now let's get back to the episode. Here's what I want you to know just surrounding this topic, in this concept of believing that you can be disciplined. I want you to know that you'll never live disciplined if you don't first believe you are. If you don't believe in your heart that you actually can be disciplined, then you never are actually going to follow through on the action steps, because again, it starts in the mind. Your mindset has to be where you believe in yourself enough to just to say, you know what, I have the capacity to be disciplined. So that's the first thing. Point number one, believe that you can be disciplined. The second piece that will allow you to truly discipline your mind is that you need to decide with vision. You need to decide with vision. Now, vision is your big picture. Vision is your dream. Vision is whatever it is that you are working towards. Because if you have a very big vision and you have clarity around that vision, it will be a lot easier for you to discipline yourself. But if you are unclear about what's next, if you're unclear about what you want out of life, if you're unclear as to what you want your dream lifestyle to be, it will be harder for you to attain discipline, because a lot of the people, those same people that you know are disciplined, they're not disciplined for no reason. They're not disciplined just for the sake of being disciplined. They're disciplined because there's something that they are going after. There is a goal in mind. There's a destination in mind. And so in the same way they have a vision, which allows them to be extremely determined, extremely disciplined, you have to make sure you have that exact same type of vision that will allow you to attain the discipline that you need. Here's what we need to know as dreamers and as leaders and as builders. Discipline is a decision based on what you want most in the future, not what you feel now. If you are making decisions based on how you feel now, you will always stay undisciplined. But when you give yourself a clear picture view of what you want in the future, you will be able to discipline your mind to say, while I may be sacrificing now, I have an expectation that I will reap the fruit, I will reap the harvest of this sacrifice later in the future. And because you are clear on what that future looks like, it becomes a lot easier to sacrifice now. So when you think about, again, becoming disciplined, it is, as we said earlier, number one, I believe that I can be disciplined. But it also is, I'm being disciplined for this reason, for this specific purpose. So you need something bigger than the discomfort. You need a reason to be disciplined that's bigger than the discomfort of discipline. Because if we're being honest, being disciplined is very uncomfortable. Being disciplined does suck sometimes, where it is far from convenient. But the inconvenience of today, so long as we steward that well, will pay off in the future. Most of you all know that I recently became a father, and that has allowed me to relook at my entire life. It's obviously one of the most humbling and exciting times in my life, but just tactically and practically, it's caused me to really look at my entire life, okay, how do I do things now that I'm a father? And one of the areas that is really challenged me and really shifted my perspective is my discipline of going to the gym. Now, I've always been familiar with the gym. I was a former athlete, played basketball at the highest level and everything, and that's been wonderful. But once I retired, I was pretty much working out just to stay in shape. I was working out just to look good. There really wasn't anything tied deeply to me working out. However, since my daughter came here, I've looked at working out as a way for me to model to her, that this is how you take care of yourself. I've looked at, being able to be in shape, and by having the discipline of working out, where I'm able to carry her, I'm able to play with her for a long time. I'm able to basically keep myself in good shape because I understand the type of impression that can have on her later through her life. And so I'm bringing this up because the discipline of going to the gym now is deeper than just, oh, I get to have some muscles, oh, I get to look good. My discipline to go to the gym is tied to, I want my daughter to see that health is important. I want my daughter to see that her dad is always in shape and he values being in shape. So she will also do the same because that's what I'm modeling. And so when there are days where I don't feel like going to the gym, and it happens, I'm able to push through that discomfort because I have a clear picture vision of my daughter's going to see this. My daughter's going to see me always being in shape. She's going to see me always being strong, always being able to run, always being able to do things simply because I disciplined myself today so that when she's growing up and seeing me, she has a value that's going to help advance her in her own life. And so this idea of deciding based on vision, that's just what it looks like, where I'm disciplining myself because there's something in the future that I can only attain by sacrificing today. There's something in the future that I can only have so long as I handle today well and I handle the discomfort of discipline. And so what we need to know as dreamers is that discipline isn't a feeling. It's a decision aligned with your vision. If you decide to get really clear on your vision, you equip yourself to become a lot more disciplined. You equip yourself to be able to handle the discomfort of discipline simply because you're chasing after something greater. And so when you are disciplining your mind, you understand I can be disciplined. I have the capacity to do so. You secondly understand that I'm deciding with vision. I am being disciplined so that I can achieve the future I want. And then point number 3, you need to normalize discomfort. If you want to discipline your mind, point number 3, you must normalize discomfort. The saying goes that you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that really is true when you think about becoming disciplined, where I'm used to the aches and pains. I'm used to saying no to what I feel like doing. I'm used to turning down plates that look amazing. I'm used to being uncomfortable. And when you get to the point where you can mentally just normalize, I normalize feeling sore. It is normal for me to want to go pig out on junk food, but no, I will eat only healthy things this week. Like when you normalize it, you now are not catastrophizing the change because discipline is a complete disruption to what you're used to doing. It is a complete disruption from what you are traditionally up to when you think about just your habits and your mindsets and your defaults. So this idea of just normalizing the discomfort will equip you and empower you to not be surprised when things get uncomfortable, to not be surprised and basically say no and stop momentum when things start to change or when things get hard. Because here's the truth. Becoming disciplined is difficult. That is true. We know that. But not becoming disciplined is regrettable. Let me say this one more time. Becoming disciplined is hard, but not becoming disciplined is regrettable. Because if I'm chasing after a vision, a future that I believe I've been called to, a vision and a future that's going to help me build a community, that's going to help me shift culture, and I don't discipline myself today, while I might feel good in this moment, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, I'm going to regret it because I'm only going to be seeing what could have been if I had decided to sacrifice them. So this idea of normalizing the discomfort is where I'm locking in on a future that I want, and I'm accepting the fact, I'm making peace with the fact, this will be hard. But if I'm able to navigate this beginning part well, what's hard now will become easy later, as opposed to what's easy now will be much harder later, all because you mentally locked in on the fact that, you know what, I can be comfortable being uncomfortable. And so here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to do. Everything that you want is on the other side of discipline. Everything that you want is on the other side of you disciplining your mind, where you are no longer negotiating with yourself, where you are no longer saying one thing but doing another. But when you truly make the decision to do what you said you were going to do, when you make the decision to do what the task and project requires, it's then and only then will you truly be able to be described as a disciplined leader. Because it will feel awkward. It'll feel weird. People will call you crazy for trying these new habits and having these new patterns and all these things. It's all normal. You have to just settle in your mind, hey, this is all just a part of the process. This is nothing new. This isn't anything crazy. So you have to be ready for it. Be ready for people to say you're doing too much. Be ready for people to say that what you're doing is crazy because you made the decision to discipline yourself, because you made the decision to put boundaries on how you live your life, because you decided to live at a standard. It's going to make other people uncomfortable, but it's going to advance you to what you're called to. And so here's what we need to know as leaders is that discipline disrupts the norm so you can handle the new. All of these things, these 3 keys points that I just gave you today in our conversation today are going to help you discipline your mind. So let's just go through a quick recap. Point number 1, if you want to discipline your mind, you must, number 1, believe you can be disciplined. That's the first thing. You have to first understand and actually believe you have the capacity to be disciplined. So stop saying you're not that kind of person. Stop saying you're not this. Stop disqualifying yourself. You have the capacity to be disciplined. Point number 2, you need to decide with vision. You need to make decisions to sacrifice today so you can achieve the future you want tomorrow. And then point number 3, normalize discomfort. Settle in your mind the fact that this will be harder than anything I've ever done before, simply because it's new, not because it's impossible. So when you normalize this discomfort, you'll be willing to navigate through the uncertainty. You'll be willing to navigate through the awkwardness and the people calling you weird and the people saying you're doing too much, simply because you have vision in mind and you understand that this is all a part of the process as you discipline yourself. So here's what I want you to do. If any of these things resonated with you or you have a question, I want you to leave a comment, but then also as a result of our conversation together and our time together, which I genuinely appreciate you spending time here to grow as a leader, as you discipline yourself, I'd encourage you to share this with someone that you know. Share this with someone else that you know is trying to build a business, that's trying to grow a ministry, that's simply trying to achieve their calling. And when you send this to them, let them know that you're sending it to them because you care. Send it to them because you trust them, and send it to them because you believe in them. And so I appreciate you for taking time out of your day to grow as a leader. I appreciate you taking time to grow in your self-leadership. And so with that being said, share this, comment, engage with it, because that helps us. It helps this message. It helps other dreamers like you get one step closer to becoming the leader they were called to be. I'll see you all on the next episode.